Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So I'm going to start out this video with a sad update because I just don't feel like it would be right to just not say anything. But Monday night, we had to say goodbye to Gracie, and some of you might know her, some of you might not, but she was my little Maltese. She was a little 4-pound white Maltese, and I thought she was 16 years old. And then I looked back at her, what it said on the paper we got from the doctor, and she would have actually been 15 years old and turning 16 in November. I thought she was turning 17 in November. So that makes this whole thing a little bit worse. Because I thought she was a year older than she was. Dumb me, I don't know. I kept getting confused, like the year of her birth. I kept thinking it was 2007 and it was actually 2008. Anyway, yeah, so Gracie is no longer with us. I had taken her to the vet on Monday because I thought she might have had a UTI because she had been wearing diapers since we moved to my mom's house because she decided not to use her pee pad anymore. Like, she just didn't know what it was confused, stressed out. I don't know. I thought she would figure it out after a couple weeks, but it was like a month and she still was not figuring it out. So after like the first week or couple days, actually, I got her diapers. I was like, we can't have her just like peeing all over the house. So she's been wearing diapers, and I had noticed recently that she seemed like she was peeing a lot. Like I'd see her go pee, and of course I'd pick her up and like bring her to her pee pad and try to make that association again, like that's where you're supposed to be going. She'd hop right off the pee pad and not do anything, and then like a couple minutes later I'd see her squatting again, like trying to pee again. And like that kept happening a couple times. So I'm like, okay, what the heck is going on? Are you like trying to pee and you can't? Because I'd take her diaper off like right after. It looked like she had like a big pee and there'd be like nothing in it. So yeah, that was what made me bring her to the doctor. So I brought her Monday. Our appointment was at 5 o'clock. And so I told the doctor about that, and I also told them about a lump that she had on her, like right next to her privates, right next to her vulva, I guess, was a lump that had been there for a while, but it had gotten bigger. And she had actually fell in the pool Sunday. We had her out there in the back with us, and she fell in. She got all wet, and then I could like really see how big it was when she was wet. So I wanted to have that checked out too. So anyway, went to the vet. I told them about the peeing thing and the lump. And so the vet took her in the back to give her, she said she was gonna, what's she gonna do? She was gonna draw urine. And I think they did. They ended up doing a cystocentesis, I think it's called, where they go straight into the bladder with a needle, like through her abdomen, and get urine out. And they also did like an aspiration of her lump. And they took like cells out and to see what it was, if it was cancerous or whatever. So yeah, they took her in the back to do that. And then the doctor, the vet came back in and she's like, I just want to show you like what her urine looked like when we took it out, and it was pink. It was so weird. It was like pink, it was cloudy, it wasn't like looking like pee at all. It just looked like pink, like liquid. So I was like, oh my gosh, like I've never seen that before. Like she's been wearing her diapers and I've never noticed that her pee like looked a different color or looked strange or anything like that. So then they took, I forget, so she wasn't, they hadn't brought her back to me yet. I don't even know what they were doing. I guess they did the urine draw and they did the test of her lump, and then they brought her back out to me. I don't remember the specifics, I don't know, but one of the assistants brought me like a list of everything that they wanted to do today, and the bill is going to be like $1,400, and they wanted to do like either an x-ray and an ultrasound or just an ultrasound. I don't know, but it was like a lot of money. And so I decided to just do the urinalysis. I was like, let's just see what happens with that first before we jump into doing ultrasounds and stuff like that. So yeah, they just did the urinalysis. They brought her back out to me, and we were like getting ready to go. It was like $600 for just the urinalysis and pretty much just that, and then the lump aspiration. So I was like, oh my gosh, that's a lot of money. We don't have pet insurance or anything. But yeah, I wanted to see if she had a UTI or some kind of infection or something. So I was like, we'll just see what her urine says first before we move on to the other stuff, instead of doing everything at once because it's expensive. So yeah, the doctor said I would get the results back of the urinalysis in about 5 days. It's actually Friday now, and I still haven't gotten any results back yet, so I'm hoping that I will. But I was asking her, I was like, do you think it's okay for her to go home? Like, if her pee looks like that, like, is she gonna be all right? And she was like, yeah, you know, she didn't seem like it was so serious that she needed to have anything done, like, right now. Like, we were just gonna find out, like, what was wrong, like, wait for the results of the urinalysis. So, she was gonna let me take her home. So, sorry that this isn't making sense. I'm not, like, the best storyteller, I guess. I get like jumbled thoughts and try and get everything out in an order that makes sense. So yeah, we were gonna take her home. I put her down on the floor, Gracie down on the floor, and we were gonna walk up to the desk to go pay. And as soon as I put her down on the floor, she just like sat down and would not stand up. She had her front paws like on the floor, like she was sitting. She wasn't laying down, she was sitting. And her back legs were just like useless to her. Like she could not stand up, she couldn't move them. They were just like, almost like the bottom half of her body was numb or something like that. So I scooped her back up and I went over to the desk and I was like, can I see the doctor again? Because she cannot walk right now. She won't walk for me. So the doctor came back, got her, brought her into the back. And then a couple minutes later, someone came back out to get me and she's like, why don't you come back here and, you know, come on back here. And I was like, uh-oh. So they go back into like their back room or whatever. And Gracie's just like on the floor. She won't stand. The doctor was saying stuff like, has she eaten today? She's like, maybe it's hypoglycemia. And I'm thinking in my head, like, it's not hypoglycemia. Like, she's never not been able to walk before. And thinking back, I wish I had like been more assertive about that and been like, no, this is definitely something's going on. Like, it's not hypoglycemia. So the doctor was gonna have me and then she was also saying, like, it looks like she's straining to poop because while she was standing there was like little pieces of poop falling out. She thought she was straining to poop. I don't know. To me, it just looked like she could not stand up. Then she wanted me to, she suggested that I take her to the other office. That's like their sister location. It's a 24-hour, you know, hospital. So she suggested that I bring her there for like overnight observation, but she couldn't tell me like what she thought was wrong. Like she really didn't know. She was just suggesting that I bring her there to be observed overnight. And I'm thinking, okay, that's gonna be like another $1,000 to $2,000 bill, you know? So I was talking to my mom about it and everything while we were waiting there like for half an hour, waiting for them to, I don't know, give us our bill or something. I don't even know. Yeah, because they were still like writing up the bill. They didn't have it ready yet. It took like half an hour for them to like write up what I had to pay for the day. So while I was waiting there, I was like texting Greg, texting my mom. My mom was saying, why don't you just come home first? Like, don't go straight over to that hospital because they're so expensive. She's had to take her dog there before. They're so expensive. And she was just like, why don't you just come home and, you know, see what you want to do from there. Like, just don't go straight there. Let's just think about it first. So that's what I did. I brought Gracie home and I was like, I'm just going to wait till Greg gets home from work and we will see what we want to do, like see how Gracie's doing. Maybe we'll just watch her at home for a little while and see how she does. So that's what we did. We just decided to watch her at home. We came home and Gracie, like the ride home, she was just like so lethargic, like, what the heck was that? Just looked like so sleepy, like she couldn't even really move. Laid her down, she was like laying in her bed in the living room and just lifeless kind of. At one point I put her on the floor. I don't remember what I was doing. I think I took her diaper off or was changing her diaper or something, and I put her on the floor and she just like laid down on the floor on her side. And I've like never seen her lay like that unless it's like super hot or something and she's trying to cool off, like in the summer. A couple times she would lay like that, but normally she just curls up in a ball and lays on a blanket on the couch or like in her bed. So to see her like laying on her side like that on the rug, like I hate myself for not scooping her up and just bring her either back to that vet or to the other vet that she wanted me to go to. But you know, everybody who was here, like my mom and my brother was here and Greg, and we were all just like, well, maybe she's just like knocked out from the antibiotic. We looked at the antibiotic that they gave her and it was convenia. That's what it's called. And it's like a 14-day acting antibiotic that like releases itself over 14 days. So instead of giving your dog like their medicine like every single day, you just give them the one injection of convenia, and that's all you have to do. So it's, you know, convenient. It wasn't very convenient for Gracie, unfortunately, because I think, I don't know, right now I'm thinking that she must have had like a bad reaction to it. I don't know. When she was a puppy, she had an allergic reaction to leptospirosis vaccine, and her face got like all puffy, and you could tell that she was having an allergic reaction. So I rushed her back to the vet after that, and they gave her something to, you know, they gave her like allergy medicine or something to help that. This time she didn't look like that. Like I was looking to see if she was puffy or it looked like she was having an allergic reaction, and it didn't look like she was. She just seemed like really tired, and we just choked it up to like her being older and like so small, and maybe the antibiotic they gave was like a little too strong for her. Maybe she just needs to sleep it off. So we just watched her that night. I carried her around in her little bed. I went and sat out on the porch with her, and she was just like laying there with her eyes open, trying to fall asleep. Sometimes she'd fall asleep for a little bit. She was just like, I don't know, she wasn't even like looking around at anything, wasn't interested in anything going on around her. Just seemed like knocked out, like really out of it. But again, I just thought that maybe it was just from the antibiotics she got. And again, looking back, I wish I had taken her. The first vet I took her to was closed by then. They closed at like 8. The last picture I have of her was at like 8:15. I took a picture of her in her bed, sitting on my lap outside. And she doesn't look very good. I wish I had taken her then to the other vet. But we did not. And I hate myself for that. But anyway, we came back inside at some point and got the kids ready for bed and everything. And I had Gracie laying on her bed up on the couch. I think we got the kids all ready for bed. And then, so they were up here in bed. And then Madison and me and Greg were downstairs, and I was just sitting there next to Gracie and kind of just like watching her and seeing what she's doing. And I'm like, I was debating right then like if I should take her to the vet, because I'm like, she does not look good. She had her like, she's laying on her side, kind of, or her head was on the side, and when she breathed, her lip would go up a little bit. And at first I thought she was growling. Like I was like, oh, like is she like in pain now? Like is she gonna growl at me if I try to pet her? You know how dogs will like get mad if they're in pain when you try to touch them. But she wasn't making any growling noise. And then later on, well, I think Greg knew what that was. Her lip going up was like her trying to breathe. Like she was breathing in like really hard, I guess, like trying to get air. It was making her lip kind of go up like that. I didn't realize that that's what it was. I had no idea what she was doing. But then Greg like picked her up, and she was like lifeless in his arms, and he was like, she's not good. I was like, you know, we both decided right then, we were like, let's bring her to the vet. So we started rushing around the house. I got up, I was putting stuff in my bag. I was gonna go tell the kids, or I did. I went and told the kids, like, come downstairs and say goodbye to Gracie because we have to go to the vet, and I don't know if she's gonna come back home. Then I ran to the bathroom real quick before we left, and while I was in the bathroom, I hear Noah just like scream and start crying, and then like all of them are like crying, and I go back out into the living room, and Greg's there, and he says to me, he's like, you need to say goodbye. He's like, I think you should say goodbye. And I thought he was saying like, say goodbye to the kids because we're taking Gracie and we're going to the vet, but he was like, no, you can just say goodbye to Gracie. So I was like, oh my gosh. So I go over by her, and she's just like, she's still breathing, but it was like a breath and then like a pause and then like another breath and then a pause, and I put my hand under her and like kind of like to cradle her like I normally would, like have one hand under her and my other hand like petting her head or whatever. So I was doing that, and I could feel her heartbeat like right on my hand. It was pretty fast, so I felt it like boom, 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 like fast heartbeat. And then after like a minute or so, there was nothing. There was no heartbeat anymore, and I knew that she was gone. So yeah, that is how the night played out. And I did not expect it to go that way. When I took her to the vet earlier, I was not expecting her to die that night. Like, she was relatively fine. She was fine. Like, the night before, she was outside, or the day before, she was outside with us by the pool and walking all around, and eating, and I had taken her on like a walk a few days before. She went like almost all the way around the block before I had to like, I've been like putting her in the stroller at the end of the walk because she starts to get like tired. So she went like almost all the way around the whole block. But yeah, she was eating, she was acting fine, just acting normal up until when we went to the vet. So, oh gosh, I don't know what happened. Like, of course my brain just goes to like, what the heck did the vet do to her? Like, she was fine, she was walking, she was eating, she was alert, she was basically fine, except for me noticing that maybe she was having trouble peeing. I mean, that's why we went there. And then after they brought her back out to me, after they took her in the back and then brought her back out to me, then all of a sudden she couldn't walk, and it was just like downhill so fast from there. So I'm thinking like, did they injure her somehow? Does she have internal bleeding or something when they did the cystocentesis, like the urine thing? Did they like hit an organ and that's why it looked pink? Like, I don't know. But then also, so her urine was pink in the vial, but then I was thinking back to her diapers, and I did notice a couple times like her pee looking kind of brownish, but she was also in heat for the past like month. Like before we moved, she was in heat. And then this whole time she was still in heat. She was like howling at night like she normally does. She wasn't howling at all during the day, so that's why I didn't associate it, like I wasn't associating the howling and whining with pain, because it was only at nighttime when she was like alone and she would be trying to like call other dogs to let them know like, hey, I'm in heat over here, or like trying to get attention from us. But she never did that during the day. If she was howling during the day, I would have thought like something was bothering her. Where was I going with this? I did notice sometimes that some of her diapers would look a little brownish, but I thought it was because she was in heat. Even though, I don't know why I thought this, because for the past few years, whenever she goes into heat, she wasn't like bleeding anymore. Like I never saw anything on her pee pad or anything. It was just like emotional, and like her mood would change or stuff like that when she was in heat. But I didn't notice her bleeding anymore. So I don't know why I thought that the brown in her diaper was from heat. Was from her being in heat. It might not have been. It might have been. She might have had blood in her urine that I didn't connect those two. But the pee at the doctor's office was like really pink. Like it wasn't just like. But I guess the doctor still didn't really think it was that serious that like she needed to stay. She didn't say anything like, oh, Gracie can't go home. Like she's so sick. Like this is bad. She can't leave. She was gonna let me take her home and just wait it out and wait for the results. And then like. When she couldn't walk and we were like back in the back room with the doctor and like the assistants and everything, she didn't know, or she was saying that she didn't know like what was going on with her and that we should go have her observed overnight. I don't know. I feel like if she had said like, oh, maybe she's having a reaction to the antibiotic, like if she had just told me like this is probably a serious thing, like bring her. I don't know why she would tell me to go to a different doctor's office. Like if it's a serious thing, why are you going to have me drive half an hour to a different doctor's office? Like if it's serious, take care of her here. Like what is she going to do? Kick me out because it's closing time or something? Like I don't think so. If she had a dog having a medical emergency, I'm sure she would have stayed there and like, you know, stabilized the dog and made sure everything was okay. So the fact is, I think it was just that she was going to let me take her and drive her over there myself. That made me think that it wasn't that serious, that like maybe we can just watch her at home, you know, instead of paying for an overnight observation at a vet hospital. We just decided we would, you know, watch her ourselves. And if something went wrong, like if we noticed any changes or anything, then we would take her over there ourselves. Like we would go. But by the time we noticed anything like wrong, it was already like her final moments and her last breaths. So I don't know. And then another thing, there's a few like things to the story, and it makes it so confusing to figure out like what actually happened, because right before we went to the vet, Gracie had been like sleeping the whole day, and I kind of was like, wow, you've just been sleeping all day, like I haven't really seen you get up. But sometimes she does that, like she's older, sometimes she just sleeps a lot. So anyway, she got up, she peed in her diaper, and I did not notice any blood or anything in her diaper right then. So I changed her diaper, and then she like walked into the living room, and I thought she was like squatting to pee again, but she wasn't. She was sitting in like the most unusual way with like her back legs like out like that behind her. And I'm like, what the heck are you doing? And I think I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure I picked her up and like tried to get her to sit normally, and she wouldn't. She just kept going back to that weird position. So I don't know what that was about. Also, another thing was at the vet, normally she would be nervous and scared, and I would be able to like feel her shaking as we're like waiting for the doctor. This vet takes forever. Like every time I brought her there, they take like half an hour to even come in the room and see you. So Gracie would normally be like scared the entire time, and I'd be like holding her and trying to calm her down and stuff. This time she was just like completely calm, just like resting in my arms, not shaking at all. Like, so I'm wondering if she was already like not feeling well before we got there. Like, was she already like lethargic and just like blah like that, like beforehand? But she was able to stand on the vet table, because I remember when the vet came in, we put her on the table and she stood there while the vet like checked her out and listened to her heartbeat and everything. Her heartbeat was fine. The vet actually said she seems really healthy for her age. She said there's like maybe a little bit of arthritis in her back legs, and she was gonna maybe give me something for that, like a prescription for that if I wanted it for her. And Gracie was standing on the table, like trying to walk off the table towards me to get away from her. So she was able to still walk then. It was only after whatever they did to her back there that she couldn't walk anymore. So yeah, it's really sad. I wish I could have a do-over. I wish I could do a lot of things differently. I wish I went in the back with them in the beginning. Like, you know how they just like take your dog and go to the back and you can't even see what they're doing back there? Like, I wish I had been like, no, why don't you just do it here? You know, like, bring whatever out here, do it in front of me, or let me come in the back with you. Like, why am I letting them just take Gracie into a back room where I don't know what the heck is going on? Like, maybe somebody broke her back back there. Maybe she like nipped at somebody while they were trying to do something to her, and they like held her down and like broke her back legs or something. Or like, I don't know, did something to her back so she couldn't move. I have no idea. There's so many things that could have happened. All I know is that she was good before I took her to the vet, and after we got out of the vet, but before we even left the vet, she was terrible. So yeah. I called the vet. I left 3 messages so far for the doctor to call me back, just because I want to let her know what happened to Gracie after she gave her that antibiotic, or after she did what she did to Gracie. She did not, I mean, there was nothing to even get better from. She just made her worse. Killed her, basically, is how I figure. I don't know, unless it's just some very strange coincidence that Gracie was going downhill anyway that same day, and happened to just go downhill right after her doctor's appointment. Like, I don't know. That doesn't seem plausible, right? Oh gosh. Well, Greg and I told each other, we're never getting another dog because this is too hard. Like, losing them is too hard. Even just like the stress of like knowing that their time is coming, like they're getting older and you don't know when it's gonna happen or what's gonna happen. Like, that's so stressful. We said we'd never get another dog, but like if we ever do get another dog, I'm gonna do a lot of things differently. Probably have pet insurance. I don't know. I don't want them like, and she didn't even, the thing was the doctor didn't even tell me what antibiotic she was gonna get. Like, when she said, I'll get you an antibiotic, I thought she meant like give me something to bring home and give to her like every day. Like, I didn't know she was gonna take her in the back and inject her with a 14-day, like, seemingly, it seems like a strong antibiotic. I don't know. Maybe it's not strong. They gave her the dosage that was for like a 5-pound dog, I think, but she's only 4 pounds. She didn't tell me what kind of antibiotic she was going to give. She just gave it to her, which that wasn't very cool. But then again, I think like even if the doctor did tell me like, hey, this is what we're going to give to her, I probably would have just trusted the doctor. Like, who am I to know what's a good antibiotic to give to a dog? Like, I trust the doctors. Can we not trust doctors anymore, I guess? The doctor would have to tell me what antibiotic, and then I'd have to go home and like research it and decide whether that was the one I wanted to give to her. I don't know. Anyway, that's the story. Definitely did not plan on Monday going like that. I was anxious to get her to the vet because I wanted to get that lump checked out for her. It looked like she was maybe walking a little bit funny from it. I thought maybe it was bothering her, and especially the peeing thing. I wanted to get her some help for that and take her to the vet, try to get her help, and we leave, and 3 hours after we left there, she had died. So, yeah. Watch out for convenia injection if you have pets. I don't know. Some people have had no problems with it. Other people have had their pets. I've been researching a lot on it since that. Lots of people have had their dogs die hours after or like the next day. So I don't know. But yeah, I guess this might be the video for today because I've already been talking for 25 minutes. I did not intend to talk for 25 minutes, but this is what's been on my mind lately. It's just I've been consumed with this and like feeling guilty and trying to tell myself not to feel guilty, but when we brought her home and she was just laying in her bed and laying on the floor like that, like, why didn't I do something? I should have brought her back. I should have brought her right back to the vet and been like, what the frig did you do to my dog? Maybe I wouldn't have said that, but I would have been like, something's wrong. Like, this is not normal. But we thought she was just tired. We thought it was just like, she's a tiny dog, she's old, she had a lot going on at the vet today, maybe it just wiped her out, maybe she's just pooped. I remember like my brother was next to me and he was saying like, was it my brother or, I don't know, maybe it was Greg, somebody was like, maybe tomorrow will be a whole different story, like we'll wake up and she'll just be back to normal. So we kind of had like this positive like thing, like she's gonna she just needs to rest and just like sleep it out or whatever, and then she would be okay, but no, she was not okay. You never know what's gonna happen when you bring your dog to the vet or your pet to the vet. Like, if any of you guys have any stories or experiences with the convenia antibiotic, leave it in the comments because I'd definitely be interested in hearing what happened with your pets. If anything did happen with them, I'm so sorry. If anything did happen with any of your pets too. I just wish I could go back in time. I wish I didn't take her to the vet, you know? Like, I don't know. I needed to take her to the vet to make sure she was okay, but I didn't expect her to die from her vet appointment, it seems like. Alright. Well, that's my update. Thank you guys for all your... On Instagram, I posted about this, so if you're over on there and you commented, thank you so much for all your kind words and comments and just trying to make me feel better. I go back and forth. Some moments I'm feeling like I did everything right, or I did what I thought was best for her at the time, and it's just how it turned out. And other times I'm just like, what the heck, Jill, what did you do? Like, why didn't you take her to the 24-hour hospital? But it was like, why is she telling me to drive half an hour away to a 24-hour hospital? Like, if something's seriously wrong, like, take care of it here. We're already at the vet. Like, you are a vet. We're right in front of a vet. Why do we have to leave and go to a hospital 30 minutes away? Like, I think that's what made it seem like in my head, like, all right, she's trying to, like, make me spend more money to, like, have her watched at a hospital. Like, I could probably just, like, Greg and I can just watch her at home. Like, you know, we can take turns, like, sleeping and making sure she's okay. So that's what we planned to do. And if the doctor had told me, like, it was so serious she couldn't go home, like, I wouldn't have taken her home. I would have been like, okay, do what you need to do, like, help her. But even the doctor was just like, oh, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's hypoglycemia. It wasn't hypoglycemia. Anyway. That's it for this video. I'll see you guys for my next one. Bye.